In Africa, there is an abandoned mine that has been closed for 11 years. Western countries assert that whoever invests in this mine must lose money. To everyone's surprise, China spent $1.1 billion to buy its mining rights. At that time, the Western media laughed. China must have lost a lot of money this time. Unexpectedly, 20 years later, China not only turned waste into wealth, but also made a lot of money. How did China make it? Why would it buy an abandoned mine? Okay, that and more is exactly what we are going to talk about. Let's get started. Since the two industrial revolutions, industry has been an important sector that drives economic development in various countries. Although China started relatively late, its development speed is very fast. It has already become an important industrial manufacturing base in the world. Made in China has also become one of the easily founded labels in the world's major supermarkets. However, with the continuous development of industry, there is a huge demand for mineral resources. But even so, there is a copper mine in Zambia, and no country in the world is willing to take it over for 11 years. Copper can be regarded as one of the earliest metals used by humans, and is now widely used in machinery manufacturing, electronic communications, and even construction industries. Then, how can such an important non-ferrous metal mine be ignored? It turned out that this was a mine that was considered a barren mine after inspections by many countries. However, after the inspection, China immediately decided to buy mining rights for investment. Unsurprisingly, this move was ridiculed by the West, and various voices of doubt appeared at the time. They all said that even developed countries judged it to be a barren mine. Can a developing country still make money from it? In fact, there is a reason why they are not optimistic about this mining area. The Shambishi copper mine used to belong to the United Kingdom, and they have been mining it for 23 years before that. According to the data released by them, the reserves of this copper mine are running out. However, in 1998, China was awarded the right to operate the Shambishi copper mine. This is the first non-ferrous metal mine invested overseas by China, but it shows an abandoned mine that all Western countries are not optimistic about. Over the next 20 years, Chinese companies invested a total of $1.17 billion in mining and construction. So, why did China choose this mining area that everyone is not optimistic about? In fact, the reason why the British gave up later was because they discovered that the further they were mined, the more groundwater it contained. In this way, the cost of drainage alone is quite a lot. So, they decisively abandoned the mine. Therefore, since 1987, the Shambishi copper mine has been neglected, and this state has lasted for 11 years. However, after investigation, Chinese experts found that this is a typical sedimentary copper deposit. Not only the reserves of copper are far more than predicted in the UK, as high as 5.01 million tons, and there are even 1.55 million tons of cobalt-like metals. This result is completely different from what the West thinks, but their attitude is still not optimistic. Even the United Kingdom cannot mine it. How can China solve the problem? Facts speak louder than words. After buying the management rights, China spent 5 years developing mining equipment suitable for local conditions. Engineers also developed a layered filling mining method to solve the problem of excessive groundwater, which overcomes the problem that is difficult for Western countries to solve in one fell swoop. In 2003, the Shambishi copper mine was officially put into production. In just 2 years, China has achieved profitability. By 2018, Shambishi, once recognized as a barren mine, had become the first digital mine in Africa, with cumulative revenue reaching $2.2 billion. This not only provides China with considerable mineral resources needed for industrial development, but also drives the economic development of the entire mining area. 70% of the people in the Shambishi area depend on this copper mine for their livelihood. When this barren mine was mined again, it provided a lot of job opportunities for the local area, and the income of one person could support a family of 6 people. Not only that, but Chinese companies have also built a lot of infrastructure in the local area, including schools, hospitals, and road facilities. After all, the profitability of this copper mine is inseparable from the cooperation and support of the local people. And this kind of mutual help is also an important reason for continuously deepening the friendship between China and Africa. In fact, this is not the first time that China has been blessed with rich mineral resources in an unexpected way. Now, I am going to tell you another interesting one. At a cost of $14 billion, China helped Africa build a railroad, but why does it make Australia uneasy? The reason is that, in return, Africa has given China the right to mine world-class iron ore. But why did the Western powers rather give up fighting for this mining right than go to Africa to help build this project? This railway is the Dapalan-Santa Railway, with a total length of about 125 kilometers. It is the first modern railway built in Guinea since the 1970s. In the construction process, all Chinese standards, Chinese technology, and Chinese equipment are used. So why did the West give up on building this railway? In fact, the biggest difficulty in the construction process was not the harsh environment in Africa and the epidemic that swept the world at that time, but the cost. Because Guinea's traffic conditions are particularly poor, and the ore resources cannot be shipped out and cannot be sold for money. Therefore, they desperately needed a railroad that would turn their resources into cash. Due to cost issues, most of the expenses incurred by the railway construction must be paid by China at its own expense, and then Guinea will pay the project funds in installments. However, in addition to the construction of more than 100 kilometers of railway, Guinea requires the construction of 21 bridges, 2 tunnels, and 6 stations in this railway. At the same time, this railway is different from ordinary passenger railways. It does not carry people, but minerals, which poses a huge test for the load-bearing capacity of the railway. Due to the weak local industrial base, many special materials cannot be purchased locally. In order to solve this problem, China dispatched land and air transport to deliver construction materials to Virginia on time, which in turn increased the cost to a certain extent. The second biggest difficulty is the problems they met during the construction. The tunnel of the Dapalan-Santa Railway is the first tunnel built in Guinea. There is no domestic experience for reference. Due to the poor soil-bearing capacity of Guinea, the tunnel is very prone to collapse. In addition, the Dapalan-Santa Railway also encountered many problems during the construction process. Guinea is located near the equator, with high temperature, frequent rainy seasons, muddy construction routes, inconvenient vehicle traffic, and threats from local pests and wild animals. After the completion of the railway construction, Guinea sold the mining rights of the Samandu iron ore with the largest reserves in the world to China, and now China is working with Guinea to jointly develop this iron ore. The Samandu iron ore is by far one of the largest iron ore mines in the world, with reserves of up to 10 billion tons. If China can develop the Samandu iron ore stably for a long time, then Australia's iron ore resources may not be so important to China. This speculation has also been recognized by many experts. At present, special vehicles from China to Samandu iron ore have been opened. According to forecasts, the annual output of Samandu iron ore may even exceed 150 million tons in the future. Well, thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions, just leave them in the comments section. We'll come back as soon as possible and check them, and then we'll give feedback. See you next time.